All right, let's talk about motivation. It's that engine that drives pretty much everything we do, right? The force behind every single goal we set and every challenge we decide to take on. But what is it, really? And maybe more importantly, how do we get more of it when we really need it? In this explainer, we're going to unpack the science and give you a personal, practical toolkit.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? That brand new project, the gym membership you were so excited about, that online course. You start out with this huge burst of energy and enthusiasm, but then a few weeks later, it just kind of fizzles out. Hey, listen, that's not some personal failing. You're not just lazy. It's a motivation puzzle. And today, we're going to put the pieces together. You know, if you've ever tried to look this stuff up online, it can give you a real headache. You find this whole world of confusing terms and jargon with all these different theories that seem to be saying opposite things. It honestly feels like a maze. But our goal here is to hand you a clear, simple map to get through it.
So let's start on solid ground. Here's a great definition. Motivation is the process whereby goal-directed activities are instigated and sustained. Now, a key part of that is that motivation isn't just about starting things. The definition says instigated and sustained. It's not just the spark that starts the fire, it's the fuel that keeps it burning. And that sustained part, that's what we're really going to dig into.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to walk through that motivation maze and see why it's so tricky. Then, we'll build your personal toolkit with 5 really powerful theories. After that, we'll see how they all snap together to form a master blueprint. And finally, we'll talk about your next move. Sound good?
So why is this whole topic so complex? Well, it's because motivation isn't just one single thing you either have or you don't. It's this dynamic mix of our beliefs, our values, our environment, and, crucially, how we explain our own wins and losses to ourselves. So let's start untangling that web. Okay, so instead of thinking about motivation as this one big abstract concept, let's reframe it. Let's think of it as a toolkit. We're about to explore 5 major theories, and I want you to think of each one as a distinct tool you can pull out to figure out what's going on with your own drive.
Our first tool is awesome. It sounds a little academic, but it is beautifully simple and incredibly powerful. Expectancy value theory basically says that our motivation all comes down to a quick calculation that our brains are constantly making, whether we realize it or not.
This theory says our motivation boils down to 2 simple questions. First, there's expectancy. You're asking yourself, can I actually do this? Do you really believe you can succeed? And second, there's value. You ask, do I even want to do this? Is this task important or interesting to you? And here's the kicker. How much you value something usually determines whether you even start. But it's your expectancy, your deep down belief that you can actually pull it off, that really predicts whether you'll see it through to the end.
Okay, let's grab our second tool. This one is all about the stories we tell ourselves after we've done something. It's about how we explain our own successes and failures.
Think about it. Whenever something happens, say you ace a test or you totally bomb it, your brain immediately cooks up a reason why. Attribution theory says we analyze that reason along 3 lines. Was the cause inside me, like my effort, or outside me, like a tricky test? Was it something permanent, like my intelligence, or was it something that could change, like how much I studied? And was it something I could control? Now, the crucial part is this. Telling yourself you failed because of something you can't change, like I'm just not smart enough, is one of the fastest ways to absolutely kill your motivation for the future. You can see how this ties right back to our first tool, right? These stories directly shape your expectancy of success for next time.
Our third tool puts a giant spotlight on one of the most powerful drivers of motivation, our belief in our own abilities. It's not just about what you can do, it's about what you believe you can do.
And this brings us to the core concept of self-efficacy. This is a very specific kind of confidence. It's not some vague, I feel good about myself. It's a task-specific belief. Like, I believe I can learn this software, or I believe I can give this presentation well. I mean, think about it. Unless you believe you can actually get the result you want, you have almost no incentive to even try. And this is the glue for our first 2 tools. Your past attributions, the stories you tell yourself, build or destroy your self-efficacy, which in turn sets your expectancy of success. It's all connected.
Okay, tool number 4. This one looks at the why behind your goals. Goal orientation theory suggests that we come at tasks with one of 2 fundamentally different mindsets, and the one we choose completely changes how we behave.
So let's compare these 2 mindsets. On one side, you've got a mastery goal. You might know this as a growth mindset. Here, your real goal is to genuinely understand something. Your core belief is that you can get smarter with effort, so you actually seek out challenges. On the other side is the performance goal or fixed mindset. Here the goal is just to look smart and get a good grade.
You believe your ability is set in stone, so you often avoid challenges because you don't want to risk looking like you failed. Big difference, right?
Our final tool, self-determination theory, changes the conversation a bit. It moves the focus from the amount of motivation to the quality of your motivation. It argues that not all motivation is created equal, and it maps everything out on a spectrum, from feeling totally forced to do something to feeling completely free.
So this theory lays out a kind of motivation spectrum. Way over on the far left, you have what's called external regulation. That's when you're doing something purely for a reward or to avoid being punished. As you move to the right on this spectrum, you start to internalize the goal, making it part of your own value system, until you get all the way to the far right, pure intrinsic motivation. That's when you do something just for the sheer joy and satisfaction of doing it. That's the good stuff.
So the big question is, how do you move along that spectrum toward that high-quality intrinsic motivation? Well, the theory says it happens when 3 of our basic psychological needs are met. First, autonomy, the need to have some choice and control. Second, competence, the need to feel like you're good at what you do. And third, relatedness, the need to feel connected to other people. When those 3 things are in place, motivation just thrives.
Okay, let's just pause for a second and look at the full toolkit we've just built. We've got 5 really powerful lenses to look through. We can ask, can I do it? And do I want to? That's expectancy value. We can ask, what's the story I'm telling myself about why this happened? That's attribution. We can check in on our core belief in our own skills, our self-efficacy. We can see if we're aiming for true mastery or just trying to perform. And we can check if our needs for autonomy, competence, and connection are being met. Each one gives us a totally different and useful angle on the puzzle.
Now that we have our 5 tools, let's see how they connect, because they aren't just a random pile of ideas. They actually share these common threads that reveal a deeper structure, a master blueprint for how motivation really works. You've probably already noticed some of the overlap, right? Ideas like competence and value and beliefs just keep popping up again and again. Well, that's not a coincidence. They are the foundational principles. And by looking at these common themes, we can build that master blueprint.
So here it is. Here's the blueprint with 4 themes that run through everything we've talked about. It starts with competence, your belief about whether you can succeed. Then comes value, how important the task is to you. Next up, your attributions, the stories you tell yourself about your results. And finally, all of this is happening within a social context that shapes everything. Competence, value, attributions, and context. These 4 elements are the real core of the motivation equation.
All right, we've explored the maze, we've built the toolkit, and we've even uncovered the master blueprint. Now for the most important part. What do you actually do with all this? You know, if there's one single thing to take away from all this, it's this. Motivation is not some magical, mysterious force that you either have or you don't. It's a system. And by understanding the tools in your toolkit, expectancy, attributions, self-efficacy, goals, and your core needs, you now have the power to diagnose why you might feel unmotivated, and more importantly, to actually do something about it. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Think about a goal you have right now, something you're working on. Which one of these tools could help you? Are you going to focus on building up your self-efficacy, maybe reevaluating how much you value the task? Or are you going to change the story you tell yourself about your abilities? What's the one tool you're going to use today?